Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. If you are looking for a program that is about to catch fire on the recruiting trail over the next couple of weeks, man, look no further than the Ohio State Buckeyes. And it gets started Thursday afternoon. Four-star cornerback Jay Timmons committing to Ohio State. Look, I don't think it's going to stop there. Ohio State is making a monster push for multiple cats that I really like in the 2026 cycle. Now, you start with Jay Timmons. The recruiting services are all over the board with this kid. 24/7 Sports, solid four-star prospect. You go check the Rivals rankings. Rivals has him as a five-star prospect, the number 2 cornerback in the entire country. And I'll say this rightfully. So, Jay Timmons, it's easy to get wrapped up in him being a shorter cornerback. And that's true. 5'11", buck 85. He is not necessarily the biggest, longest, most imposing cornerback that you're going to see across the country. What I will say about Jay Timmons, does not play very small. Like, not afraid to put hands on wide receivers at the line of scrimmage, not afraid to fire downhill and get active in the run game. This is a kid that, although is only 5'11", plays much bigger and plays much more physical. And the other thing I like about Jay Timmons, and it matters when you're talking about a team like Ohio State, position versatility. I think he'd play every single position in the back end. I think he'd be a really good safety. I think he'd be a really good nickel corner. I think he can make it work out there on the boundary as well. When you are a team like Ohio State that has a silly amount of talent in the back end, getting guys that can do different things and getting your best players on the field in different positions, it's what you want. And I think that's what Jay Timmons gives you. You can get really creative in terms of how you want to use Jay Timmons and what position you want to play him, because I think he can do it all in the back end. I don't want to get irresponsible here, but when you turn on the junior and senior year film, you do get some Caleb Downs vibes in terms of, and what I mean by that, I'm not getting up here and saying he's going to be Caleb Downs, no. But what I mean by that is it's the it factor, man. I mean, he's just a born playmaker on the football field, always seems to be in the right spot at the right time to make plays. And it's not all that surprising because his pops was a damn good football player too. So he has those football player instincts, that playmaking ability that, look, it matters with Ohio State. And you look at Matt Patricia, how he wants to run this Ohio State defense. We going to ask you to do a lot of different things. So we need cats to come into this program that can provide different services and skill sets. Jay Timmons is that guy. Now, Jay Timmons is exciting, right? We got a laundry list of names to talk about that Ohio State is pushing for. Before we get into it, as always, Ohio State fans, it is not only is Ohio State taking care of business on the football field right now, it's going to be a busy next couple of weeks on the trail as well. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, we talked Jay Timmons. I want to open up the conversation. Another name in the corner, I don't even know if they have enough room to grab another corner, but they going to try. Like, if there's one thing we know about Ohio State is it's never enough when it comes to acquiring talent. CJ Bronaugh. Now, polar opposite kind of recruit. And what I mean by that is Jay Timmons, although maybe lacks that prototypical size, is a really good football player at this stage. You know you're getting a solid football player. CJ Bronaugh is kind of the opposite. I think there's some development that needs to take place with this kid as a football player. He is 6'1". He is a buck 70. He is long, and he also happens to run a 10.3 in the 100-meter dash. This kid is dripping with every trait you want in the book at the boundary cornerback position. If you're Ohio State, all right, take a guy like CJ Bronaugh, see what he becomes in 2 to 3 years within this Ohio State program. Because you look at Ohio State's depth chart and say, hey, we don't need him to come in and be an immediate guy. We got other guys that he can sit behind and develop behind over the next couple of years. Obviously, this is a little bit pending who's the next head coach at Florida, but we know CJ Bronaugh is open. He is taking visits, and we know Ohio State's pushing. Here's another one, and this is kind of what you get when you are Ohio State and you have your guy in Ryan Day. With all this chaos across the sport, it is opening up windows and doors for Ohio State to get really aggressive with commits that are committed to programs that have a lot of instability, right? We talked about it with CJ Bronaugh at Florida. James Franklin at Penn State, and Kevin Brown. This kid, He's one of my favorite offensive linemen that you see in the entire country. Can play guard, can play tackle. I think he's going to stick at tackle. I know there's a lot of people that think he'll be a better guarding. Look, I think he can play both. Extremely powerful individual. Just go take a look. There is not an ounce of body fat on this kid. He's extremely strong. Some of the weight room numbers, I mean, a 410 bench, 610 back squat. The minute he steps foot on any campus that he decides to go to, he's going to be one of the strongest football players that you have on your roster, but does not have a lot of bad weight. And so he moves really, really well. Can protect that outside corner, playing tackle, can get out of his stance in a very explosive manner. If y'all been rocking with the boys the last couple of years, you know I love one thing. You know I love offensive linemen, line of scrimmage players in general that have a wrestling background. Now, if you are a wrestling fan, you know wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania, it ain't no joke, right? Kevin Brown, very good heavyweight wrestler as well, knows how to use his hands, knows how to play with leverage. Another player you want to talk about here, Emmanuel Ruffin was committed to Colorado. It sounds like Ohio State's going to make a move here, and raw, really, really exciting traits. I mean, 6'4", 300, wears it pretty well. Nice length in the arms. Here's what I'll say, and you guys hear me say this all the time. This is an extremely difficult position to address in the transfer portal. If you want to have elite line of scrimmage play, you got to stack bodies like this at the high school ranks. Emmanuel Ruffin is a guy you want to stack. I don't think he's a year one guy, but I think the ceiling's really damn high. And if you look at Ohio State, everybody wants to talk about, last year with the national championship, Judkins, Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Smith. And look, I get it. That was a large part of Ohio State's national championship run. What nobody ever talked was how good that defensive line was and how well Ohio State has recruited and developed on the defensive line. Emmanuel Ruffin's a nice guy to put in that chamber. Here's another player that I do like is the Legend Bay, currently committed to Tennessee, just playmaker. I mean, you go back at the high school ranks, plays all over the football field and say, hey, anytime this kid has the football in his hands, seemingly is making plays. Now, if he's going to play wide receiver, of which I think he will play at the college ranks, needs some development in terms of route running. Ohio State has some success developing wide receivers. I think that's fair to say. If you get the best out of Legend Bay and you take a really good athlete, really dynamic, twitchy, fast athlete, you make him a good football player, sky's the limit with this kid. Last one, Dre Quinn, was committed to Clemson. Clemson is a disaster right now. He opens up back his recruitment. Miami's pushing, but Ohio State's pushing as well. Traits, man, 6'4", 230. Again, probably needs a year similar to Emmanuel Ruffin. Looks the part, and also has some really good high school tape as well. If I'm an Ohio State fan, it is, hey, we want to capitalize on all this momentum. If there's one thing Ohio State can sell is, one, we're winning. They're the team that you would pick to go back-to-back right now. If you're asking me who's going to win the national championship, just as importantly as that, player development. I mean, everything we know about Ohio State, it is on full display over the last 18 months of what we've seen on the football field. You want to capitalize that on the recruiting trail. That is exactly what Ohio State is looking to do. I don't think this will be the last commitment we talk about over the next couple of weeks. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We will break them down when they come in. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.